All right, we be rolling.
All right.
What? I'm totally thrown by John's new intro.
I'm having a hard time with videos, like saying this is John Thomas from Bulldog Mindset.
Well, the good news is you only have about 2,000 reps on that other that you're trying to overcome. So
which he's not trying to overcome because he's going to be making more videos.
Well, yeah, when I do the simple programmer ones, it feels just so natural, just smooth like butter when I do the intro. But
yeah, bulldogs are awesome. Bulldogs are bastards.
Looky! Check out this. You guys see?
Nice. Oh, so that's the winning
sticker,
logo there.
That's
nice.
The winner, and yeah, got some nice little sticker mule. I love sticker mule. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, they are.
I use them all the time. So
John showed me some of the 99 Designs entries for that, and there were a lot of really good ones, and there were some that were just hilarious.
Yeah.
My favorite was the friendly. John called it your friendly neighborhood bulldog, and it was like this grinning. It was like the cutest, most adorable little bulldog you've ever seen. It was just like grinning at you, little perky ears. You know,
those are the most dangerous kind.
I love it though. 99 Designs is so good. Because, well, and the cool thing about it is like when I did the first vote on that logo design. Like that, the yellow one, which was it was a variation of this. It was not this one with the triangle, but it was this bulldog guy, right? With I think it might have been with the tie. Yeah, with the tie. Oh no, it might not even had the tie at that point.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't notice the tie at first. Yeah.
Some people hate the tie actually.
Okay. But it's a polarizing element in
because they're like, John would never wear a tie. I'm like, well, John would wear a tie when he needs to, like, you know, I want to be more. Well, the thing is, like, the tie made the whole difference in this logo because the tie says it took this logo from thug to mafia hitman, right? Like, we don't like Bulldog Mindset. We don't want to be like fucking gangster thug looking, right? Like, it's not. So the tie makes it mafia hitman. Right, like it's like, you know, it's the same amount of toughness and cracking people's necks and shit, but it's doing it with style as opposed to like just being like a loser. So it made all the difference.
We're talking Godfather rather than the run-of-the-mill heroin dealers.
Right, exactly. It's like that. What's that? There's like this Sylvester Stallone movie called like where he's got this big stick. It's like Last Man Standing or something like that, I think. Mm. Anyway, that's the image for it. So with 99 Designs, like I had the pole and the yellow logo, the yellow with the black with the tie. It was like overwhelming #1. Okay, and then so I basically I just threw the other designers out and just had this one guy make like 5 or 6 variations of it. Vesper is his name. And the one with the triangle that ended up winning was by far the best one on the poll. So it just gives you a high level of confidence that you've got the right thing. Because it's not what I would have originally selected, but I love the logo. And everyone I show it to, like they love the logo. So, but
yeah.
And check this out. I got, if you go to, what is the site for the storefront? Okay, so go to where is it? Go to teespring.com/stores/bulldog-mindset. I'll put a link in here too. But
yeah, the link would be helpful.
Well, I'm just saying it out loud for the people that are listening. But
for the one person who's still viewing it today.
So check this out. I wasn't even going to do like merchandise yet, but I got an email from YouTube. They are partnered with Teespring. And have you ever seen a YouTube video and you've seen like little merchandise at the bottom of the video? Yeah. So I guess, I don't know how you get it, but they offered me to get into the program. So I said, well, sure, shit, I might as well get into the program, right? So I just jumped on Teespring, just quickly, you know, threw up. These are just basic, just logo shirts. There's no design, just the logo. but might as well, right? So it's supposed to happen in like 48 hours. Now, when the videos play on the channel, it will show at the bottom of the video the merchandise, and you can buy any of these.
John, I want to see you wearing Bulldog Mindset yoga pants.
I know. I was
Tight yellow one.
I'm trying to decide where to put the logo on there. I was like, should I put it like
Oh god.
right in the middle of the behind.
I couldn't quite get it on the behind. I could get it like splayed across the front where the triangle was pointing.
Oh gosh.
Opted to not do that though.
The visuals of it are very disturbing, I must say.
I do want to get the socks though. I think I like the socks. So
Yeah.
Oh man.
and I'll have to do the poster for the wall. I'll probably do that. But yeah, no, it's pretty cool though. Like I mean that it's coming together pretty damn quick to get that thing. And I've got the logo designer working on the site design now. And oh man, I made a mistake, guys, for hiring. This is the mistake that like we've talked about before, right? But you know, just to reemphasize this. So the guy that designed the logo, Elijah, he's awesome, right? You know, really, I mean, he did fantastic job with that logo. I love it, right? So I had him, I was like, oh, can you do like website? Can you do like banners? And because I wanted the same, you know, because he understands the brand and the meaning behind it. And so I was like, okay, I want this guy to make the website from the logo and then to do the social media banners. And so he's like, yeah, definitely I can do that. So he gave me some quotes, really reasonable quotes, by the way. And then he was like, I was like, well, do you know WordPress and stuff? And he's like, oh yeah, I run WordPress on my own site. And I was like, well, I've got a theme on there. And so, you know, I'm going to get it, you design it, and then I'll get someone to implement it, unless you can implement the stuff on the WordPress on the, like, customize the theme, because that's ultimately what I'll need to do. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll customize the theme for you. I do it all the time. I did a lot of web work. And that was the mistake. So, like, if you go to Bulldog Mindset right now, I mean, it's he was like, oh, we'll buy this theme from Theme Forest, and that's kind of almost what you need, and then we'll, you know, I'll customize it. And like, you know, like a week went by, and I'm looking at this site, and I'm like, damn, what the hell? This looks like shit. Like, what's going on? You know, he hasn't really done any work on it. Finally, I get a message from him, and, you know, get on Skype with him, and I look at, and he's basically like, he's giving me all these constraints, right? He's like, oh yeah, well, the theme, like, it's this size, so, you know, we have to make the logo this size. And he's like, and, you know, and the image, and this is the section they have for the video, and this is how they have the text. I kind of changed the CSS here, but we don't want to change it too much. Right. And so he's giving me this shitty design. And then finally I was like, damn, what am I doing, John? I'm like, this guy is not a shitty. I was actually getting irritated with him. Right. And so I was like, this guy's not a shitty designer. So I was like, look, dude, here's what we need to do. Fuck the website. I don't want you to, don't touch the WordPress at all. Forget about the theme. I want you to give me a Photoshop file. Give me a PSD. And he said, well, you know, with the theme and stuff, there's only so many things I can do. I said, pretend like you can do whatever you want. Like, the world is your oyster. I want you to just design the best fucking website that you possibly can, and let me worry about getting it implemented. Like, you just do what you're good at. You just design the thing. And so I've got, let me see if I've got a design, but it's fantastic now what he's got. Like, but that was the mistake, was trying to get him to, you know, I'll hire someone to implement the WordPress side of it.
By the way, John was trying to hide the yoga pants there, so I put the link for it for you guys to check it out.
Yeah, that's like a common problem. So with that's actually a big problem, or I've seen that a lot with the older versions of like lead pages and stuff, where the designs were more constrained. You ended up with like people creating landing pages to fit the theme instead of just creating a good landing page. Like, that's what I loved about Thrive when it came along, was like, I wasn't constrained by the theme anymore. It's like, oh, the theme has 5 bullet points right here. No, exactly 5 bullet points. Like,
and that's the way to do design, is you have to do it, and then you take the Photoshop file, and then
no constraints initially. Yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah, see, that's so much. It's exactly what I want. And I had him. He was like, "Oh, I don't want to have like a quiz or a pop up or like take email address at the front." You know, I was like, "No, that's the first thing they're gonna see." He's like, "I know, but I don't like those kind of sites." I'm like, "No. You're gonna take the Bulldog quiz. That's the first thing. As soon as you get that page, bam, that's what you're doing. You're taking the fucking quiz." So I love this design now.
Designers don't want to be conversion oriented at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
So don't sell him my creativity with your commerce.
Don't fuck it up for me.
But yeah, I feel like he's done.
Make sure to give me the money.
Yeah. But yeah, so much better result. You should have seen the crap that was happening with the design when it was constrained to the theme. So now I just have to get someone that can customize the theme and customize. But there's people that do this, like so many people that chop up Photoshop files and turn them into themes. So that's not a problem. That's an easy skill set to find. So the harder skill set is finding the design. And when it's like what it is it's like, you know, what I was doing was I was hiring the architect of the building to fucking dig the foundation with a shovel, right? And then yelling at him and being like, "Dude, you suck at this. What the fuck?" Right? Like, you know, it's such a waste of talent and time, right? And you know, so yeah, lesson learned. But I just got to get him to design the blog page, like for the actual blog post, and then I'll be, because it's really on those 2 pages, and then I'll be done, and then I can, you know, get the site going. But yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have to say that the yoga pants would fit me just like they fit that model.
Oh, damn.
I'll send you some, Chuck. Yeah.
As long as he models them for you, right?
There we go.
As long as
Next week,
as long as you record a video doing squats. Chuck, you're gonna do a video doing squats.
Yeah, there we go.
Up on Mindset's YouTube channel.
Yeah, next week on Entre Programmers, what will break first, Chuck's hip or the yoga pants?
Oh yeah, I got another one for you guys too that I hired. So the other thing that I was doing is with YouTube now, they're offering you to have. I'll drop the link in here. You can have membership, right? Where people can pay $5 a month to be a member, but you need like little custom emoticons and shit. So I hired like this pixel artist to make emoticons and badges, and you got to see what this guy did. He did
is
like
that where?
That's
Okay,
awesome.
I noticed that John used the hairy thumb in Slack, and I was like, where'd that come from? Now I know.
That's Bulldog thumb. So,
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So yeah.
I
So
like
he
Harry
designed
thing better.
But yeah, so these are like the badges that people get for joining the membership. So
do you use these? You can use these then in comments on YouTube, or where do you use them, or is it a download type of thing?
So
you could bundle it with some good spyware.
Well, no, you get the
download
badges.
my icon pack.
So the badges are based on how long you've been a member, right? That's that second one. It like upgrades your look, and I think it's in the live chat. It might be in comments too. I'm not sure. I gotta check and see. And then the emoticons are no. What's that?
Why are they so pixelated?
Because they have to be.
Yeah,
Well,
they're supposed to display tiny. So the bigger ones are Retina versions, probably, right, John? Or
they're still. I mean, they're like 48 by 48 pixel.
Yeah.
So but this guy knew what he was doing. Well, and he was specifically a pixel artist. So people can upload better, like higher resolution images, but YouTube is going to scale it down to 24 by 24. And so what he did was, this guy was smart. I interviewed a bunch of, because I was like, I knew a little bit enough about pixel art to know. He was like, look,
I thought that you had taught yourself pixel art quickly.
I did, but I'm not not this good yet. So, but he was smart enough to know that they're going to downsample this, and so he actually built it to the smallest size that they were going to downsample, so that it would look how he wanted it to look, not how it got downsampled.
Right.
So that's why he built it that way. So he knew what he was doing. So there's a lot of other ones that I looked out there that their art looks like shit because they didn't have they didn't do that right. So
Yeah.
Mm.
That's cool.
Nice.
So I have
Yeah.
some questions about my my email sequence. I'm revamping my email sequences, and one of the things initially what I was doing with my email sequences was once I get them in through the different opt-ins, I'd kind of introduce them to my YouTube channel, so that kind of send them to some of my popular videos on YouTube, send them to some of my popular videos, some of my popular podcast episodes, and go along that route. But now I'm thinking, instead of doing all of that, I should just go and kind of sell them on book summaries in general, why they should buy, and then slowly transition them into one book summary pack and the next book summary pack and next book summary pack, rather than try to build some sort of, what I was initially thinking was, I'm doing this because I'm building a level of trust and rapport with them by sending them this free stuff. But I'm not sure if that actually is useful compared to just sending them, like teaching them more about book summaries and why they should read book summaries, or why what kind of book summaries we do and why they're useful and stuff like that. So what do you guys think?
I'm more inclined to the second one. I guess I'd look at it this way. I mean, it's a little bit of a different thing, but I've seen this before. Like, let's say you go to the butcher shop and you want to get like a ribeye steak, and then he's like, "Oh, do you want to sign up for our email? We'll get you, like, you'll get discounts." And then you're like, "Yeah, okay." And then, you know, you get home, you eat your steak, and then the next day you open up your email and your butcher's like, "Hey, you should check out this interview that I did with the USDAA, and, you know, or hey, have you looked into meditation, or, you know, personal development," right? You know what I mean? Like, I think that that you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm not interested. I mean, you might be interested, right? But if he sends out an email that's like, "Hey, this is how your meat should, you know, how you determine a good cut of meat. Hey, this is the best way to grill your."
This is getting dangerous.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute.
This example can go south really fast.
I didn't even think of the. Sorry, Manny. I didn't even think of the example I'm using. Okay, let's say you go to the grocer, to the. Well, you get my point. I didn't even think what I was thinking about the steak. But yeah, I'm culturally insensitive.
So go down the path of like literally selling, like talking to them about book summaries, because even on the YouTube channel I have summaries, but I was thinking that's building some sort of a trust and rapport and like credibility with the audience because of specific interviews or specific channel, whatever, videos and stuff like that. But you know, that's why I guess I'm opening this up for debate now.
So I would be tell me about how are people signing up for your list then? Like, what is the main offer?
So there's quite a few different ways to do it.
Okay.
But the thing
What's
is,
the most common?
Okay, shit. I have a lot of most common ones. These are book summary PDF downloads. So they come and they read the blog post of a book summary, and I say, "Hey, by the way, if you want to download the PDF summary," and they download that. And these are books in different space: productivity, maybe mental toughness, general self-development, business, all those things. So that's one big chunk of maybe 60 to 70% people come through that.
Okay.
Another percent of the books of people will come from my YouTube channel, where I'll say, "Okay, hey, by the way, if you want to get the mind map of this book summary, or if you want to get, you know, summaries of the 10 best books." So it's always like something along those lines, summaries of these books or that book.
Yeah.
Is what you get. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I would do would be to start with your biggest slice, which sounds like it's the productivity, maybe the productivity angle. And immediately, I would test immediately working on selling them your productivity book bundle. Right out of
That's
the
what
gate.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I agree with you. That's what I'm So there's the initial indoctrination campaign, and then there's the productivity engagement campaign. I guess that's what I would put it. Like Ryan
Yeah.
Dykes.
So the how long is the indoctrination campaign?
Well, I'm talking to you guys about the indoctrination campaign. That's what I'm trying to figure out, if I should maneuver that more towards instead of just sending them all of my good stuff, free stuff for a few emails, just telling them more about, hey, look at all these great people who read books. Look at why you should be learning in this format, or this is why I do video summaries and stuff like that. And then
do that within the context of a specific offer and a specific. So like, okay, so you sign up for the productivity segment of your list, immediately go into like, hey, you should buy this productivity bundle.
Yeah.
And as you do that, by the way, you know, like Arnold Schwarzenegger is so productive because blah, 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 you know, and where you're selling the benefits of book summaries, but don't do that generically. Do it within the context of selling the particular offer that's in an area where they're already interested. Makes sense?
Complicated. Yeah, I agree. It gets really complicated because there's so many different genres I have. So it would be like trying to push them all into one.
Do it in one. No, do it in one. Do it for one funnel first and see if that is effective. I think that would be more effective than it's going to be hard to just generically, because nobody cares about book summaries. I mean, well, they're obviously signing up for your list for it. If they've already signed up for book summaries, you're selling them on the concept of book summaries. That's kind of redundant.
Yeah, that's
because
yeah.
They already like the idea. So I think continuing to sell them on the benefits of book summaries is fine, but I wouldn't push pause and spend 3 or 4 days with people like going, hey, book summaries are really great.
Exactly.
Because they already think that.
I can't get away from the butcher scenario, but they walked into the butcher shop.
Right.
They like meat.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, there's another point. So the other thing is this. Consider this. You're selling them. What is your average price that you're selling them?
$69 to $99.
Okay, $69 to $99, right? They've actually walked into your store. You already know they're interested in what you're selling, and you're selling them at a price where they can make the decision right now in 5 minutes. It's pretty close to impulse buy. So they don't need to know who you are. They don't need to know, like, they just know they like. I need another analogy. They like candy. Okay, they like candy, and you sell candy, right?
Right.
So if you were selling $1,000 product, $2,000 product, a big piece of real estate, I want to know who the fuck this guy is. I want to know what his background is. Why is he selling this to me? Is this actually valuable? I need a lot of education. I need a lot of encouragement. But to pull the trigger on a $69 purchase that has a money back guarantee.
Well, and also, like, the thing about book summaries in particular is that you're packaging up a known quantity, right? Everyone knows Getting Things Done by David Allen. So you're able to, like, as long as they trust that you, and they've already gotten some of your summaries, so they already know that you're able to take this and boil it down to something useful. You know, you've got the trust in David Allen plus the trust that you've already delivered for them, really.
I've been fighting with some of this myself because you all, like you do, challenged me to get, you know, a couple of weeks worth of email written. And I spent 3 days writing an email campaign that I am not going to use because I am not happy with it.
But that's part of the process.
Yeah, but what I realized is what Josh and John are saying. You know, if they come in for productivity, you know, just like if they sign up for getting the episodes of JavaScript Jabber, I'm going to tell them how to get involved with JavaScript Jabber first, and then I'm going to send them the indoctrination campaign after that. And what basically it's the idea for me with that is, hey, I want them to know why I'm doing it and what I'm about. And then I also, in the same vein, I'm also setting them up to understand why I'm pitching them other stuff later on. So other shows, other products, is because it's essentially, hey, look, I'm really about developer freedom, and I really care about you being happy with your job and feeling like you're empowered to do the things that you really care about. And so then I can weave that thread through everything else, and I can say, okay, now I have this productivity, so they come in for productivity. Now it's here's mental toughness, and I really care about blah 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 blah, like I said in my campaign a few weeks ago. So go check out the mental toughness, and here's another thing that I can hand off to you, and they already understand that you're thinking about this in that particular way, and so it's a setup for the rest of the sales.
I really am not a fan of the whole concept of an indoctrination campaign, because you're hitting people right away with details about you that they don't care about. So I've been watching a lot of Gordon Ramsay stuff lately. So I don't care about what kind of car Gordon Ramsay drives until I'm a fan of Gordon Ramsay. And I don't care about, what motivates him in his family history and all that stuff. I don't care about it till I'm like, I really like this guy. And so,
but you can't like the guy if you don't know about him.
No, I agree. But the way that you do it is the way that you get to know Gordon Ramsay initially is you watch Hell's Kitchen.
Right.
And you watch him, you watch him screaming at these people, and you're like, I enjoy this. I want to find out. So you give people
Can I yell at you, Josh?
Yeah.
If they do your pitch summary, they'll know you.
Yeah. Exactly. When you by sending the type of emails that you send and that we send, people get to know you a little bit, and once they're a little bit invested, then they're actually interested in this type of stuff that people put in the indoctrination sequences. Then they care about your story and your values and all that stuff, and you can use that as a springboard into the other areas of other topics that you cover.
So just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about with my stuff is, they get the, hey, JavaScript Jabber. So they get that first week where it's, here's how you get the show, here's how you connect with, here's how you suggest topics and all that stuff, so that's because that's what they signed in for. And then the next week it's, people ask me all the time why I do this. And so I give them some context. I give them a couple of podcast episodes that are relevant to that to go look at. And then I tell them how to connect with me and how to become a deeper part of the community, so that when I come back around the next time, they're deeper in the system. It's not just, hey, I wear Skechers or whatever, because nobody cares. It's specifically related to what I sent them the previous week.
I'm going to push back on you though, Chuck. This is what I would suggest you do. I think you should go ahead and take that email sequence that you don't like, that you wrote, and put it in place now, and work on the replacement while you've got it in place, for two reasons. One, because you'll have something out there, and something, no matter how shitty it is better than nothing. So you'll start to get results. And two, there's no greater motivator than having shit out there, right? That you got to replace. That's
John's website.
Yeah, exactly. Like my website. You can bet that's one of my top priorities, because I'm like, every day people are going to this website, right? So
fair enough. Or maybe I'll just pull an all-nighter tonight and write the whole thing.
You can still put it out there right now, and that.
No, John. No, John.
All right. If you don't have an email sequence by next Friday,
you can't tell me what to do, man.
No. If you don't have an email sequence by next Friday, you have to wear those fucking yoga pants.
and send the squats video to us.
Do a little booty dance in front of the camera.
Yeah.
In the gym.
Nobody wants to see that, by the way. Nobody.
Only the entrepreneur community.
Oh shit! I made a mistake on Instagram advertising. I've been dropping like $10 or $20 on Instagram, like here and there when I put posts up. I'm doing like 4 or 5 posts a week now. I've got like a schedule, and I did this one in my Halloween costume, right, with 6-pack abs showing. And I was like, oh, you can specify your audience. So I was like, let me specify people who are interested in 6-pack abs. So guess what kind of people are interested in 6-pack abs? Think it's fitness people? It is gay guys. Gay guys are interested in 6-pack. I have a ton of gay guys following me, coming on all of my pictures now, and DMing me. So
there you go.
So all I'm saying is, Chuck, someone out there is gonna like it.
Oh dear. Manny, have we answered your question? Is there anything else we can cover?
Maybe
I'm not asking out of any form of self-interest.
a couple of things.
I think he
The reason why I wanted the indoctrination was so that I could actually, even if it is only 1 or 2 emails, maybe 2 emails, something like that, and then segue into productivity, and then segue into mental toughness, and then segue into social skills. That way I have one streamlined sequence rather than freaking 5 different sequences running for 5 different kinds of book summaries. Which will not be a good thing for, for sake of simplicity.
That is very true. I would say if 70% of your people are coming in on one track, do that track and then have a generic track.
No, but I don't have something like that.
Yeah,
I would say my split is more like 20, 30%, 30%.
Put them through the gauntlet of book summary. Like talk about, have essentially the sequence, like get the sale up there real quickly, but pick your most popular, the highest selling summary package. Pitch that first. Talk about that. Then next pitch the next one. The next, and just pitch them all in sequence, because it's more likely that like people who read personal development books, they're not usually like, oh yeah, no, I'm only interested in personal development books that are about mental toughness. I don't care about productivity. Right. They're usually like, they want it all. So I think that you'll be okay. Like, I think there'll be plenty of cross-pollination. I can't imagine that people are not going, like, if it were completely different, like you're selling the top 50 books, book summaries on history, that might be different. But
so then the question becomes, it's the first few emails, whether they came through a download of Deep Work, or they came through a download of The Magic of Thinking Big, or whether they came through the download of Good to Great or something along those lines. The first couple of emails need to direct them into, like, they need to serve a couple of purposes. Well, maybe they're already sold on the idea of book summaries, but then they need to be sold on, okay, the productivity offer is coming, and these kinds of summaries are being sold, or these kinds of summaries are what I do, and something along those lines, if making sense here. In the sense, all 3 of them is it's like a tree, it's a funnel that's feeding into this initial first offering of, hey, productivity is crucial, it's really important, you need to get that down. And once you get that, or book summaries are crucial, productivity is one of the most important things, and then take them down the funnel of like the next offer and the next offer.
Yeah, to John's point, like he said, they've already walked into the butcher shop. I think what you want is not to convince them of the value of the book summaries. And if they come in looking for productivity stuff, you got to hit them with that first.
Right.
But once you have that, what you really want is you want them to buy into the vision. You want them to buy into the idea behind what you're doing. And so it's not book summaries. It's, I get this kind of benefit from Manny's stuff, and so if I want this benefit in another area of my life, Manny's going to tell me, why he's giving me that benefit, and then you can come back around. So it's not the benefit of book summaries. You're telling people, hey, look, I really care about your time, blah, 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 right? And so that way they get invested in you. And then when you come back, then it's like, well, Manny really cares about my time, and he wants me to build a little bit more mental toughness, which is something I feel like I need to do anyway. And so then they're buying because they're bought into your vision, and not necessarily because they think they need more book summaries. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So give them a reason to believe in you, and a reason to, it's a little bit of that celebrity, business that we've talked about with John and Josh, except in your case, you can sell that as, our business is focused on this or whatever, but you have to give them that vision so that they can come running, because that's a vision they want too. And if you make it about book summaries, I just don't know if anybody's going to get that excited about it.
Yeah, you're selling the end result. My equation for you is pretty simple. This is the result that you want. Manny embodies the result. He got here because of the books that he read. you can too with less effort
There you
via
go.
the summaries.
There you go. Yeah.
Mm.
Manny got here. He wants to help people get here more quickly. And so, he does book summaries. And then the other thing is then you're not boxing yourself in if you decide to do something else, So if you put up a course, it's not a book summary, or, you decide to branch out and do some paid webinars or something, then it's the same thing, right? It's, hey, look, Manny's doing whatever it takes to pull me up.
Which I've been trying to avoid becoming a personality, as you guys very well know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there are different levels to that too, right? I mean, to some degree, people have to believe in you to buy your product. If you wind up building out a team, then it becomes a whole lot less about you. But I don't think you're there yet with what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you're making yourself a case study,
Yeah.
essentially.
I really love that approach for if you're going to do an indoctrination sequence, doing that, right? I figured out how to blow through information like super fast, and you don't need to do that here.
Don't worry. Whatever it takes. I guess I'd say this: do whatever it takes for you to become $100,000 a year revenue company.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that means you need to be a celebrity, whether it means you need to do things that don't scale, whatever it means to get there, because that's like the heartbeat. When you're there, then you can shift. Then your growth to a $500,000 a year revenue company might look like something totally different, but now you have the resources to produce that. Now if you want a team, now if you want to not be a celebrity business, you have the option and you have the resources to do it. But it's like if you die on the table, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you could have the best structured plan of how the business is not going to be a celebrity business and how it's going to be automated and all of these great things and how it's going to scale up and grander. But if it doesn't actually ever make it to the 100K revenue year point, then none of those dreams and hopes mattered. But once you get there, then you have the resources to, you see what I'm saying? It's like, it's optimized for the immediate right now to create the long-term. And because when you're a $500,000 revenue company, everything could be different. But you have to get there, and you have to get to 100 first. And if you're going to get there, that's going to require you to do whatever it takes. It'd be better to, you see what I'm saying, as opposed to the alternative of optimizing too far for the future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other thing is, I've seen people build a celebrity, style business, and then as they start bringing, okay, this is my training person, right? And so they introduce their training person to everybody. And so then anything training related, he just funnels off to them. And pretty soon it becomes, it's still a celebrity business, but people have enough confidence in the team that, keep coming back to buy, that it becomes less and less of an issue. Oh, now I have this other person that handles these other things for you folks. And pretty soon it's this team effort. And then if the main person wants to step back for a while, it's not a major problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, so on those first couple emails, can you tell your story in a way that naturally leads, that both kind of is interesting to read, which you got a lot of interesting stuff in your story, that naturally leads into the promotion for the productivity books? So think about those first couple emails as the lead of a sales letter where you're telling your story, like kind of what we just talked about, how you've taken all these books and how this transformed your life and all that stuff. And then segue that into the productivity. There's just basically the pitch for the productivity summary series. I think that would be, because that kind of accomplishes all the objectives, really. Like, you're building, if you're telling an interesting story, you're automatically engaging people, building trust, doing all the above. And if you're telling a story that resonates with them and that they want to become, that's fantastic. And then you can springboard off of that right into your productivity series. That would be something to try.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Okay. All right. Cool.
And what you can do too, like another thing is like, I mean, do that and just have it a generic approach where you're pitching the one thing, like say productivity first, and then down the line. And then one good test to do, because if you can have it simple, it's better, right?
Mhm.
But you could try adding one level of complexity, which is to tag people when they come in to segment. And then you could say, you could just start with 2 segments. They're either productivity or they're something else. And then what you could do is you could create a specific email sequence for whatever the one is that's super, super targeted towards that segment. And then you can still have the generic one, and you can see if it performs a lot better. If it performs a lot better, where it's worth the complexity, then you create paths. Then you have segmentation for each way that people can come in of the major ones, and you specifically target those, and you have those email sequences. But don't do that unless you've proven it, right? Create the generic one first, and then try one path, one segmentation path, and see if it actually improves it enough that it's worth adding the complexity. Otherwise, you'll have unnecessary complexity that you'll have to maintain without a known benefit.
Yep.
Which is, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to avoid. Keep it as simple as possible in the the new campaign. Yeah.
The other thing I would suggest too would be to not maybe the very first sequence that they go through is a discount. But then don't do like discount after that. Like you're gonna do productivity is like a time limited discount offer, but don't turn around the next week or the week after that and do another time limited discount offer. Like pitch it, most of them won't buy. Pitch the next thing, most of them won't buy. But that way you're not like, it's not like every other week is a new discount.
Then you could also argue that you should just go with open and close at that point.
That would be that actually would be better. Yeah, that would be better if you.
Have you guys tested that, like open close, open close?
I have been doing that with the membership. I haven't done it with the static courses, but I've done it with the membership, and it's honestly, it's the only reason that we have 300 members right now. If I wasn't doing that, we would probably have 80 or less. So, yeah, I'm 100% sold on that.
But that's more of an evergreen you're doing. Not evergreen. More like a
live. It's
live, broadcast kind of thing rather than an evergreen campaign, which can be done. Like, deadline funnel, completely automated open close process.
By the way, Josh, go ahead.
Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, no. I mean, I would try it. For you, it would need to be an evergreen one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Evergreen, open close.
I think that would be something worth trying for sure. And you could test it without. You could honestly test it without. Initially, it would be easy to test it without the deadline funnels complexity. What you can do would be to one option is to set it up so that it starts on the same day every week. Like runs every Tuesday, it starts on Tuesday, or every week it starts on a Tuesday, ends on a Thursday. And then you have a pretty link that expires on Thursday. And then next week you go in shortly before the deadline and you update the pretty link so that the deadline expires.
Actually, deadline, yeah. I mean, deadline funnels isn't that complicated already.
I had trouble when I tested it a year or two ago. I had a lot of trouble where didn't seem to be working, and it tanked our sales. So, hopefully they fixed it by now. But
yeah, my recent experience hasn't been that bad. But
if you've already got it, then that's
I already had it work in the past, but I can always.
Yeah, I would try that, and and just make sure whatever the offer is, that's not like easy to find on your website. But
yeah, well, if you do open close, it's always easy to get on the wait list for the website visitors.
Yep.
So that they only get in through wait list, and everyone else goes through the funnel.
Yep.
Yeah.
John, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I've been pitching the membership pretty hard, and every Simple Programmer video that I'm doing, somehow I work in the idea that you should be part of the community and join the membership and get on the wait list. So we'll see how that starts doing.
Yeah. How's that? Like, are you just driving them to a waitlist lead capture form?
Yeah, it's pretty crude right now. It's basically the same page. Well, I have 2 pages. The way that I'm doing it now is I actually just use 1 page in Thrive, and then I have a code. I use a URL parameter to toggle the open closed section of it. So it's like either the waitlist button, join the waitlist, or the buy now button, and the URL parameter controls that. So it's pretty. So then I use a pretty link, and from the emails they get the pretty link that shows them the version of the page with the form open. But yeah, it's just it's the same. It's basically the sales page, but then with a join the waitlist button.
Now some listeners going to brute force it and figure out how to.
Well, they should if they want to buy.
They want it that bad,
If they want it that bad, yeah.
They can figure it out. I'll let them in.
They deserve to.
Yeah, you got to earn it.
It's pretty good though. It looks like it's pretty active. The form,
yep.
So,
Yep.
Yeah, it's getting. Yeah.
Nice. So I'll chime in here. So I listed. This last week's been really interesting. So I put up job listings, like I said before, I think in the last 2 weeks, for show notes folks, a salesperson, and a software developer. I hired the developer. I have somebody working on Podwrench, which is
nice.
a happy thing. He's worked for me before, so that worked out. I had 2 other people that actually were interested in the job that contacted me directly. And one of them actually came back and said, well, I'll just work on it for free. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to manage that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do that.
There's gotta be some kind of exchange that's worth it. So
yeah.
He probably has something in mind. You just need to find out what it is.
Yeah.
The problem with not paying people is this. Yeah, because I've been in this situation definitely before. Is when you don't pay someone and then you're like, dude, what the fuck? They're like,
yeah, you can't do that.
Like you can't crack the whip because you can't get. They get upset when you get mad at them because they're like, well, I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart, and you're like, yeah, but you're a loser and an asshole, and you're wasting my time.
Basically, John just described every nonprofit that has ever existed. Very frustrating.
So I'd rather have recourse. In fact, I've told people I want to pay you so that I can fire you.
Yeah, that's definitely crossed my mind. So I told him I talked to him about it, but I haven't made any commitments yet. So we'll see where that goes. But the show notes, folks, I listed. So I sent an email to. I think I sent an email to my list. Yeah, and I put it out to a few other places, and I had like 6 people apply. So I sent those 6 people an email that said, hey, look, I'd like to talk to you about this position and do a phone screening and maybe a short interview. So click here to schedule your interview. And nobody did it. None of them did.
All right. Well,
I'm like,
well, you
saved me a whole bunch of time.
That's a good filter.
Yep. So then I went to Upwork, and we were talking about this a little bit before the show before. And I was about to list the job there, and it was funny because I looked at it showed me like some of the past people who've worked for me, and I have a whole list of people who have done show notes for me on Upwork in the past.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, I'm not so confident in this anymore.
I mean,
so I listed it on KSL Classifieds, which is kind of it's a local classified ads website that gets a lot of people on it.
Yeah.
And so Upwork just shoved a whole list of failure in your face right at the critical moment.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm hoping I can get some people that are local or close to local, and that way I can sit down with them in person. I can get a real good feel for them. I'm still going to put them through the, make sure that they're qualified people. I've also decided that I'm not just going to hire the best out of the people on the list, which is something that I've done on Upwork in the past. If they can't do the job, then they're not going to get hired, and I'll just keep looking.
Yeah, don't choose the lesser of 100 evils.
Well, I kept thinking in the past, oh well, I need somebody to take this job on, and no, I need this job done right.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, definitely. I think you could have success on Upwork. I mean, the other way would work just as fine. But it's a lot of it is the process of creating that filter and being very specific about what you want and having that like the more specific you are. Like I'll give you an example. I just hired a real estate agent to list 3 of my properties in Boise, and so what I did, my process for doing this was, and I just did a video for the site, but I basically said, okay, I'm making a list of all real estate agents that are potential to have investment experience in Boise. And I made that list. And then I wrote up an email template to send to all of them. And the email basically consisted of this. It was like, okay, this is what I am and what I'm doing. I'm an investor. I'm doing this. This is exactly what my goals are, what I'm trying to accomplish. So they all know this. And then I laid out the commission structure. Like I was like, this is what the commission structure I'm offering you is 4.5%, 1.5% on the listing agent side, and 3% on the buying agent side. This is non-negotiable. This is what the terms are. Right. But here's the opportunity is I'll be selling a lot of properties. Right. If you're interested, yes. If you're not, if you would be so kind as to refer me to someone, if you know someone who would be interested, that would be great. Right. And so I basically like the whole idea of the email was to filter out as many people as possible. I don't want to get on the phone. I don't want to talk to. I don't want to email. I don't want you to fucking text me if you're not accepting the 4.5% commission, because that is critical. Also, at the same time, like I've laid it out exactly what I'm doing, what my criteria is, that these are shitty properties. They're not in good condition. Right. So I don't want to mess with any of this stuff, so that the people that are coming to me are highly filtered. And then now I can evaluate them on an individual basis. But it's the same thing here, is it's like, but to the nth degree, like the show notes, if you hire some people, I mean, again, I think we talked about this before, but get one of your shows and hire like 5 people after you've done the filter process. Hire them all, the plan. Edit that same one and to produce the show notes based on your guidance. And then heck, you might even do, for something like this, I might even do round 2. I might take like 5 people, hire them to all produce show notes for the same exact show. And then I might take 3 of them. I might cut 2, take 3 that have potential and give them feedback, like record a video for each one of them and say, this is what you did wrong. This is how I'd like this. Right. And then give them a new episode and hire all 3 of them and pay them to do that and see who comes back. If you go through that level of rigor with the process, you'll get someone who's fantastic, and you'll get someone who you can train to be even better. But if you look at it and you're like, oh, this person looks qualified, they look like they have the highest skill set and best qualified, and you just hire them, you're going to get a random crapshoot.
Yeah, 50 to 80% of this is finding somebody who's not going to flake out on you. And if you, the more hoops you put in their way,
so true.
The more hoops you put in their way, the more chances they have to flake out. So,
but pay them for the hoops.
No, I'm totally on board with that.
Exactly what John says is how I hired my video editors every time, and even my writers. It's like the same fucking process. Making them copy animation videos from my own videos and letting them give me exactly how much time it took them. I tell them, I'll pay you for it. Just go ahead and copy it. Just go ahead and do the exact same video. Send me the
$500.
Right? And I let them set their own times. And pretty quickly I know, hey, one guy took 10 hours, one guy took 2 hours. So the guy with 10 hours is mostly out because he's just fucking with me, right? And then again, I give them another job, which is another copy or maybe an iteration of what I've done and try to improve it. And that's exactly how it works, rather than try to evaluate just from the interview if they're going to be good, which is almost always a disaster.
So check.
I definitely planned on making them do show notes at least one time. So
you posted you posted your description here. I think you need a lot more details and filter than this. Like you're going to get a lot of people applying for this that will not necessarily be qualified. He's got it in the.
Share one of yours, John.
Oh yeah, let me go to Upwork and see what I got.
Oh yeah, this is
okay.
This is a little detail.
Here we go. Okay, so here's the pixel artist one that I did. Let me see if I can find the actual job. Oh wait, here we go. Job post, view job post. Okay. So this was very specific because of the content of it. I wonder if you guys can see it with without being our here. I'll screenshot this, but or I'll just tell you what it says. It says here. The title is Need Pixel Artists for 5 YouTube badges and around 20 custom emojis. And then the job detail says, I need 5 badges and about 20 custom emojis using the specifications YouTube has provided for their channel membership perks. Here's an example of a channel that is using them. And then I've got a link for a channel. I'm looking for nostalgic pixel themed around my YouTube channel and the new Bulldog Mindset logo file you can see attached for this job. My channel is for some inspiration, put the link there. Here are some of the badges. Here's some info on the badges and emojis. So I sent them a link to the YouTube specifications, badges, and then I repeated them here. Badges need to be a minimum of 32 by 32 pixels and max of 320 by 23 pixels, less than 1 meg. Emoji needs to be in those specifications according to YouTube guidelines. And then include Bulldog Mindset in your cover letter and list any relevant experience and ideas you have for the badges / emoji. Also, I need to see some samples of your work with pixel art, or if you want to create a sample using my logo as inspiration, that will work as well. And then I had questions to ask them. What is their experience with pixel art? Now, this one's this is a very specific job, as opposed to, but again.
I wonder if you could actually include a job in the interview itself and give them like a 5-minute chunk of audio and say, go ahead and edit this and send that to me. So then you actually are eliminating a whole bunch of people who are just going to waste your time.
Well, but see, you don't want to do that. Okay. And I'll tell you why, because the thing with that is you're asking them to work unpaid and you're going to get a lower quality of work. So what I would do is actually, Chuck, even though I've listed this job, like, for the pixel art, right? I did the same thing for the audio editing for the book. It's very specific, but make a specific job. Tell them I want this episode, and then in the job, what you can say is that so you in the job title you say what you're looking for, the podcast editor, show note person, right? But in the description you talk about how that you're looking for someone, but then you say, for this specific job I'm hiring for, I want you to do this one episode, and this is what I want you to do. And you make it very, very specific. So you're hiring them for the one job, like we just said. So then you can make it very, very specific, and you can filter that completely down. And then if it goes well, then you'll hire them for the long-term project. Or you can say that this is essentially an interview for the job that will be paid.
All right. I'm not completely sure how to do that.
Well, just pretend that you are just pretend that every single show that you do, you need to hire someone new to do all the work for that show.
Exactly.
Right. And that's what you advertise.
Yeah. I also realized that I sent you the wrong listing. So there's a second listing there.
Oh, okay.
I definitely.
Oh, okay. That's better for sure.
But I can definitely go into more detail and just say the show notes are going to look like this, and you need to be able to, work on these social media platforms and things like that.
Yeah, and honestly, I would put it on Upwork as well, and be very detailed and hire a specific job on Upwork to do that specific episode, right? And that's how you'll know for sure that the person will be able to do the job.
Yeah, because when we looked for the book, when we hired someone to do the book, the designing for the book, I posted like, I basically posted a job like design the look and feel for this book that we're launching. So I basically told them like, I want you to design the table of content, the title page, the table of contents, and the first chapter.
Yeah.
I'll pay you for that. And we probably spent, you know, $1,000 maybe paying different designers to do that. But the one we got was, you know, really awesome.
But yeah, it's all about making it, hiring them for one specific job, one specific thing that is highly detailed, that filters them out as much as possible, so that if they can't do the, so that you're being very specific about what you want and what you're looking for. And any kind of questions you can ask that would filter that out. That's perfect.
Right. And you're gonna find people, it might be a slightly different crowd too. Like the way that you're presenting this here is almost like it's a job versus a gig.
Right.
Right. So if it's more like a gig, then you're gonna get freelancers who are looking to make money now, but are maybe not, you know, not so telling someone, hey, marry me right away is different story.
It's been proven to work.
Here's a question too, like a couple of questions to think of. One of them is like when you interview people for this job, or even before that step, just in the filter, like Upwork lets you ask them questions. Question to ask is, what do you think makes good show notes in your opinion? Another question to ask is, go out and find an example of what you consider good show notes for a podcast, and send me, you know, 1 or 2 examples. Like that alone will tell you, because anyone can bullshit and say they can write show notes and they can like send you stuff, but like to understand what makes something good, it's like the same thing like when you're hiring a programmer, right? I can hire a programmer just by saying, what is good quality code? Like, what does it look like, right? And if they're like, oh yeah, I love this because the variable names are so descriptive, and you're like, okay, yeah, you're hired, you got it, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like you can know, just if you look at a sample of their code and how it's written, you know exactly, right? And if they can describe what makes the code good, and they use the words readable, and they explain what that is, like, you know that they understand something that is harder to convey, that you can't just, you know, say yes or no
judgment.
And then the second thing I'd say about this is also, where have you fallen? Like, of the people that you've hired to do show notes, what is your biggest complaint about them?
Reliability, hands down.
Reliability, not the quality of the work that they're doing?
There's been some of that, but I've had far more people flake out on me than I've had not do the job well, or well enough at least.
So do you feel like if you found someone reliable that was somewhat competent, you could train them to make the show notes in the way that you want them to be written?
Yeah, I believe so. For the most part, for most people anyway. I do still have, like, I still have issues with the way the show notes are done now. I've had issues with the people I've had doing them in the past. And typically, so besides the reliability, you know, just having people not release on time, which drives me crazy. The other problem that I've had is that I will give feedback on the format, and the format will get fixed on the latest episode, and then the next episode shows up the same way the last one was before.
Okay. Simple solution for the first one. In the job description, and before you ever hire someone, I would state upfront that this is a serious job. This is a deadline. This is like being a news reporter. The show must go on is the motto of our company, or, you know, whatever you want to say, like, right, this is critical to the lifeblood of our company. The first time that you miss getting the show notes done of the quality level that they need to be done on time, you will be immediately fired, no questions asked. And you you will not be paid for the work, for the outstanding work, or whatever. I mean, you might not be able to, but essentially something along those lines where it's stated severely in there, so that anyone that has any kind of flakiness and it's like, I don't like working like that, they're gone. They're filtered out, and then hold to it, and then do it. Fire them if they miss it. That'll help cure that piece of it. As far as like, and I'm pretty sure if you find someone that adheres to that level of reliability, that they will take the feedback as well.
Yeah, probably.
So like on the disc, so if you've ever taken the disc profile,
I've
you
started
want-
making all of the people that I hire do that before I hire
you
them.
want someone who's a high C.
Yeah.
That's basically what you want, because they are the type of person who would rather get, dragged behind a truck than miss a deadline.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
So, but that's been fun. Freaking hate hiring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
I
I
think
gotta get
hiring is
to
probably your
Photoshop.
number one activity check too.
Your
thing
favorite activity?
No, the thing that he does the most of, that we talk about.
I actually don't mind it that much anymore. I feel like I've done it enough times now that I feel okay about it. I got to get someone for the next one will be for the Photoshop to the website. But
And Chuck, one thing is that we never John, you've never interviewed anybody, have you?
for a job, an actual no, I don't need to.
Like we don't, Chuck. You in the past you've done like interviews and phone screens and stuff. John never does that.
You either do the job or you don't, right? The communication, like I'm already hired you for a job. How you do on that determines whether you continue to work with me or not, right?
Yeah.
Because we hardly ever communicate with our team members in a real time, video or audio format. So the interview is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing speaks louder than your actions anyway. So what's the Whitaker quote or the Ralph Waldo Emerson quote? I can't hear you because your
actions are drowning out your words or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, makes sense. I'm also tempted to go over to the university and post in like the computer science department.
Okay, since you're doing local, Chuck, another option would be to post in, honestly, like I don't know if you've done this before, but any church-related groups that you have, or homeschool groups.
Yeah,
because
I did that last time, and I got something that I thought was really great, and
they flaked on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't have to pay her because she didn't do anything, but that's the only upside. She was a sister of one of my neighbors.
I mean, if you're looking for podcast editors and you want them local, is that the requirement?
Show notes, podcast show notes.
Show notes. You want them local? Is that a requirement?
No, it's not a requirement. I mean, if they're reliable.
And the other thing, yeah, okay.
No, what job sites are you trying?
Yeah, so I posted it on KSL.com.
Well, think about this too. Again, I think part of it too is like, yes, you need to find someone that's excellent, that is reliable. But another part of it is it's how you set the precedent that makes a difference. That's why I said from the job description, tell them if they miss one deadline, they're fired, that this is critical, this is mission critical, this is like being a news reporter. Yeah. But also when you bring them on board and you onboard them, you should set it so that the deadline is actually like 24 hours before the deadline, and have like a schedule and a checkpoint. And it's like, if they miss the checkpoint, that's like serious problem, you know what I mean? And so that there's like a system in place, and there's, they've got that system, or you have them come up with the system. I mean, there's a few things you could do. You could say, okay, I need to see your calendar. Your first task is to make a calendar, and you need to show me what hours you're going to work to get this done on this time, and how you're going to make it for these deadlines. What is the time period? What is the system? What is the schedule? I need you on a routine.
Yeah.
Something like that, like so that you can set them up for success. Because it can't be that all these people, I mean, if you're having to deal with people that are just flaky all the time, there's got to be something else. It can't be that all these people are just flaky, right? There has to be another component here. And what can you control that component?
No, I mean, that's totally true. I mean, I definitely need to be communicating with them and just saying, look, they have to go out on time or else. And these are the critical parts of your job, and I haven't done that in the past.
Yeah.
And then essentially then it's not a surprise, and then I just need to follow through and not be a nice guy and just be like, look, you didn't do your job, sorry, bye.
Exactly. Yep.
And then if I the next person I hire, I can be like, yeah, I'm hiring you because the other person didn't deliver on time. So
Exactly. Yep.
and if you do want
see
this
those bodies
job,
in the corner,
essentially
those are the last 3 people that were sitting in your chair.
yeah, essentially. But yeah, it boils down to I'm serious about this, right? And then they know that if they don't
Right.
deliver, then they're gonna get fired.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Oh, so I finally got the stupid audiobook out. Amazon finally released the damn thing.
Nice.
Takes 2 weeks or so, doesn't it? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it took forever to get out there, but I sold like 146 copies so far of the audio, so pretty decent, I think. So.
How much is the price point?
I think they listed at $5 or $6.
Audible controls the.
Yeah, they
pricing,
control it on that side, but yeah. So yeah, or 487 is what they have it listed for. So yeah,
So you can just give them a range, or how does that work?
It's based
No.
on the length.
Yeah, it's based on the length.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's it.
pretty much.
Damn.
Oh, but I've got a plan too. So I've been writing a blog post on how to build self-confidence. It's like a 7,500 word post that I'm building these pillar like type of content. I'm basically using the Brian Dean strategy of just like for the Bulldog Mindset, there's going to be maybe 20 posts on the site, but they're all going to be massive posts. Like, I mean, eventually there might be some other content, but the main strategy right now is going to be build up these 20 pillar articles. And so this one is the ultimate like self-confidence guide. It's better than anything else that's out there on the internet by far, and much longer. And what I'm going to do is get this out there. I've obviously tried to SEO the hell out of it, get backlinks to this thing. But then I thought about it. I was like, if I'm writing a 7,500 word article on how to build self-confidence, I should just turn that into another ebook and this is one that I've written.
Mm-hmm.
And then record the audio and ship it out there on Amazon, and it'll be another lead magnet, and it'll make some revenue. So I'm probably going to do that.
I think this one would also be a good one for an infographic.
Oh yeah, that's a really good idea.
So you could part of the post, you could have an embedded infographic with the post, and
So what's
those.
the deal with SEOing that?
What's that?
What's the deal with trying to SEO an infographic?
People go crazy over them, and you get a ton of backlinks.
Yep.
Okay, but the content in the infographic, is that picked up by Google, or how does that work?
No, it's purely backlink.
A backlink play only.
Yep. So, but yeah, I read the first half. John, I confess I didn't finish the entire thing, but I read the first half of it yesterday. And it's really good. I think that is the type of thing that you will be able to build links to, and seems like a great candidate for that strategy.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I figured that it'll be better to just like hit these, to do. I did some research ahead of time to see what the topic, and then just to like nail it just as hard as I could and write the ultimate where there's not even a close second for the level of quality that I'm putting into the posts. So if I do a bunch of those, I think that's going to be the fastest way to grow the site and grow the traffic. And then, like you said, it's like it'll be easy to get links for something like that, because when you make that ask, it's like, well, yeah, this is good, as opposed to
Quora has been killing it.
Meaning what? You've been doing a Quora strategy, or?
Well, there is not really a strategy, like not something I planned to, until I stumbled on it and I started to see results from it. So what I was doing was I was writing these articles, which were like book summary PDFs. And that was like literally the title of those posts. whatever deep work PDF or magic of
Mhm.
thinking PDF. And what I would often find is that Quora posts would outrank my post,
Oh yeah.
on the front page of Google, on the first page of Google, and I was like, fuck that. So I would go into Quora, like where that specific post was, where can I find a PDF of this or blah, and I'd go in and answer that, and pretty quickly, Quora became my #1 social media traffic source, even bigger than YouTube,
Mm.
just from like answering those freaking 10 questions basically on Quora, rather than having 100 videos on YouTube. Which was very, very
Nice.
interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Yeah, getting core strategy in place is good, because if you can just get a system of answering like a couple of those per day, that adds up.
Yeah, at this point, I'm really like, with 10 questions answered, I'm already beating my YouTube traffic.
Wow.
I wonder what will happen if I literally go out and basically do it for 100 books or whatever, like answer 100 questions on Quora.
Dude, you should totally do it.
You can also see in Quora, you can see what the view count is on Threads.
Yep.
So you can look at. I'd looked at this for promoting my email marketing stuff, but the email marketing is impossible to promote. There were no questions that had any views on them other than like, should I use MailChimp? But for this, yeah, like this seems like a no-brainer. I did that a little bit with Stack Overflow, where I for my Sublime stuff, I found the top Stack Overflow threads on Sublime, wrote a blog post that was relevant, and then went in and answered the question with the blog post, and put a lot of the answer in this, because Stack Overflow is pretty sensitive about that. But that quickly became my #1 traffic source, I think even more than Google.
Yeah, you should hit it hard, Manny. I mean, because doing things, if you're already getting more traffic from Quora than YouTube, then this is what I would do. Take the next week and spend all of next week doing nothing but answering Quora questions. Like, just give it one big fucking hammer, right? Because if you do that and you just focus on that, you'll become super efficient at it. And I mean, it'll be a pain in the ass. Like, you'll want to kill yourself, but it will absolutely answer you the question whether this is worth it or not, right? And then you can know, and you'll get if it is worth it, you'll get a huge benefit. I mean, you might, if this is what it looks like it could be, if you do this, you may be able to quadruple the traffic you're getting to your site in 1 week's worth of work. Is there any other better work that you could possibly be doing?
I agree with you. The only thing I'm worried about is there's something called astroturfing on Quora, where if you answer too many questions which are driving links back to your site, they get suspicious and then they start to kill you. So it's almost like you got to. What I can do is write those questions and keep them in a queue, so that I start to feed them into the system almost on a daily, every other day basis. Like have my guy kind of go and copy those answers in there, so that way I actually put that out. But I couldn't just like put the answers out at that fast a speed, or Quora will get suspicious.
That's fine. Do the work though of next week of getting it all lined up so that you're ready to go, and then scheduled out, and then same effect essentially. I mean, it'll take you longer to measure it, but yeah, I mean, because right now it sounds, I mean, if you have 10 core questions and you're getting more traffic than YouTube, consider how much effort you've put into creating YouTube videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Like compared to how much effort you've put into answering Quora questions. Now, I mean, they're synergistic to some degree. You got to have somewhere to point people and that, but at the same time, like, to me, it's like, if you can do that, scale that Quora effort, really, then heck, it's quite possible you could 4 or 5x your traffic with a 1/10 of the effort.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm gonna, once I get back to San Diego, I'm gonna spend that week, as you're suggesting, to just freaking get like Quora on the DL and just get it done. Yeah.
Well, and one other thing you could do, I mean, I work better in like big chunks of time. And so, you could grind through and then schedule them to go out.
Yeah.
But The other way you could do it is you could just say, look, I'm going to spend a half hour on Quora every day. And that way you consistently get it out. So whatever works for you that works to get you the results. And you may want to just try both ways, but yeah, I would look at which, what's really working for you and would apply to you.
And I would do, like I said, I mean, I would do the week, like just hit it hard first. And then probably, if it works, migrate into what Chuck's saying and do like half an hour every day. Because if you know that it works, right? This way, because if you do a whole bunch, you'll be able to find out if it works much quicker than if you just start doing half an hour a day. It'll be more difficult for you to find out. Like you want to maximize your throughput.
Yep. I'm gonna just I gotta get at least, like, now that I know with 10 answers I can get YouTube traffic, I can literally write another 10, 20, 30 in the next couple of weeks and see what happens with the traffic.
Yep.
Of course, the quality of the traffic isn't as good as YouTube traffic in the sense on-page time isn't as good as YouTube traffic, but that doesn't even matter when the numbers are so big.
Yeah.
Right. And
it's still filtered because it's still filtered because they're clicking through. Like it's a second level click through.
Yeah.
And they're coming for a very specific intent, which they ultimately end up like on page. My on-page opt-in forms are performing. Most of these book PDFs are performing at around 7 to 10% right now. So if that continues to go, then I could quadruple the website traffic very quickly.
Wow. Yeah.
Worth
doing for sure. I've got it on my list too to do Quora stuff to start.
Actually, if you do the confidence one, and there's so many Quora confidence related questions, you could just go in there, answer them, and direct them.
Yeah.
That will get you a lot of views and traffic. Yeah.
That doesn't shock me at all that people are asking about that kind of thing on Quora. It seems like a really solid place for people to go to.
Yeah.
It's insane still too. The uptick I'm getting on that quiz is still killing it. Right. At first, when I put it up, I was like, okay, all the fanboys are coming in and taking the quiz and signing up for the email list. I am getting consistently about 20 email signups a day now on Bulldog Mindset, which I mean, considering that it just started up, that's pretty damn good. And when I look at the stats on like the amount of people that have been shown the lead versus how many actual people are taking the quiz, it is still hovering around the 50% mark. So it's pretty good. In fact, it's even it's about around the 50% mark. So pretty insane.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good.
I have
I feel like I need to do one of those quizzes as well.
And then the people are buying Manny's mental toughness package.
Yeah. We're getting $7 EPC right now. Gross.
And not only are they buying, they're taking both of the upsells.
They are. It's almost like I feel let down right now because I don't have another upsell to add to them today.
Yeah, they're literally taking both of the upsells. I think like 3 of the people that have bought have taken both upsells. So
oh wow.
So as soon as we introduce the upsell and like the bump and the upsell, basically 75% of people or 80% of people have been taking it compared to earlier when we just had the initial offering. Yeah, so that one is working for sure. There's probably definitely more to add to that funnel, given that people are taking it up.
Yeah.
So I had one more thing I wanted to bring up here. Last week, was it just you and I, John, last week?
Yep.
So John, I was talking to John about hiring a salesperson, and he's like, well, you should get on Clarity and see if you can get somebody. So I did. And I get on the Clarity call, and the guy goes, I talked to him for about 20 minutes. And he basically, we start talking about what I need. And he's like, well, you realize the best person to sell this stuff is you, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, but, and I'm giving him all the reasons I don't want to do it anymore. And then he's like, so we start talking. He's like, okay, well, what kind of a time commitment are we talking about here? And I'm like, probably, he's like, how much time do you spend on it? You know, because I didn't want to say it. I'm like, for a few hours a week. He's like, yeah. He's like, so I spent $100 and something to find out that I just need to keep doing the sales for right now.
Well,
Well,
sometimes
yeah.
it's good money.
But the flip side of it is that he's like, look, he's like, you've just got to make this the one thing you do before you do anything else during the day.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. He's like, so put in an hour every day. He's
Yeah.
like, that's more time than you're currently spending. He's like, and then you can scale back when you have all the spots that you're telling me aren't quite filled.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay.
Yes.
Well, crap. I spent $100 something and 30 minutes to get the common sense answer that I probably could have come to on my own if I weren't a freaking idiot.
Hello,
Mhm.
Mr. Consultant. Here's my
Mhm.
watch. Please tell me what time it is.
Yeah,
That's-
basically. No, I needed the clarity of thought, and I think I just needed somebody who was, at his level to step back and not be as emotionally tied in. But yeah.
Nice.
I've got on my commitment. I did like my visualization for kind of the year, like every few months or so. And one of the things, like I visualize myself, like the ideal version of myself, who I want to become.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I have on there is like I put it in the terms of like what this person does, right? And one of them I have is the top one is utilizes coaches for everything he wants to improve at.
Mm.
Yeah.
I realize how important that is as I'm doing the marathon. I got to actually go in a little bit here to hit the airport to go to Vegas because I'm running the marathon this weekend. And
Nice.
just in this small period of time, I've only had this guy coaching me for 2 weeks. I've improved dramatically, right? Just small things that he's having me do, running these intervals, like stuff that I hadn't done. And I'm like, why the fuck am I not doing this for everything in my life? Just
Yeah.
hire the fucking coach. Just hire the coach, right? And so that's what I'm going to try and do for when I start doing some advertising or doing stuff with Bulldog Mindset around that. I'm just going to hire a coach. I'm going to hire, like when I want to actually, I'm going to grow the Facebook page eventually. That's one of my goals on there. I'm going to hire a coach to help me, to show me how to grow the Facebook page. That's it. I'm not going to fuck around. I'm not going to read articles. I'm not going to do any of that bullshit. I'm just going to hire a coach.
Let me ask you, why a Facebook page compared to hiring a coach for your YouTube channel or your Instagram or your...
That's one of the examples. I'm going to do the same thing with Instagram. I'm going to hire a coach to help me grow the Instagram when I put that as my focus. So
Facebook was suddenly your focus now.
No. That was just one example, but yeah, makes sense. So it's worth paying the money for the advice, for the common sense that, again, like the running coach didn't tell me anything I didn't already know, but he made me run the intervals, which made the difference. So
yeah, makes sense.
Very cool.
But yeah, I'm doing 26.2 on Sunday. So.
Yay.
Oh, something else you guys might be interested in real quick here. I just thought I did so you guys know I did the Pluralsight earlier this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I made like $175,000 on that stock of short-term capital gains. Okay. And then I bought $20,000 worth of options on Tesla like before they announced the earnings, and it turned into like I made an extra, like I ended up cashing out $45,000 profit on the.
What happened? How did you cash out? Why did you cash out?
I put a trailing stop loss at 25%. Right when it dipped 25% below its peak, it auto sold. So
that's what we were talking about in the gym, right?
Yep, I did that exact night. So, yep. So that was good. I mean, it's.
Where is it
I
now?
end up, at the highest point, I was up $65,000 or $60-something thousand. Right now, it's a little bit higher than what I sold it at, but I don't care because that you stick to the plan. And so anyway, I'm sitting around with like $200 and something thousand worth of short-term capital gains, and I looked it up. I was like, it can't be that much, right? You know what my effective tax rate on that short-term capital gains will be?
50%.
50%.
It's over 50%, slightly over
Oh my
50%, because
gosh.
I got to pay California as well as federal.
Oh,
So yeah, so it cuts it in half. But check this out. So Manny knows a little bit about this because he helped introduce me. So I'm investing in downtown San Diego with this real estate syndicate here, right? And there's this thing called opportunity zones. Now check this out. This is crazy shit, right? So if you've got capital gains, right, you can invest in an opportunity zone and it will defer the taxes. And in fact, if you stay in that opportunity zone long enough of the investment, it will actually mitigate the taxes completely, like a certain percentage of them. So basically, I gave them $250,000 that I'm going to transfer into this opportunity zone, which is basically a fourplex in downtown San Diego that I'm investing in.
The 17th and F?
Yeah, that one.
Mm.
I upped the investment by another 150,000. And
Just on that one.
Yeah, just on that one. I've got the other building as well, the Marson building. So they've got like 350,000 of my money.
Okay.
But
I told John, if anything happens, don't kill me.
but here's the thing. But think about this, right? $200,000. I was going to pay on about $250,000. I was going to pay 50% taxes on.
Yeah.
That
So
money's gone, so you could lose half of it.
yeah, even if this investment is not the best investment in the world, them saving half of that money of taxes is well worth it. But I didn't even realize that when I was talking to my CPA, he was like, "Oh yeah, you could use opportunity zones if you don't want to do 1031 exchange on the properties." And he's like, "Oh, and it also applies to capital gains for stock sales too." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Wait a minute. I thought I remember hearing that one of these investments I did was an opportunity zone." So I put the rest of the cash in there. So basically, I'm going to pay zero taxes on that on that amount, at least for now. while it's invested in there. And
John,
What's
you're
the
not
timeline for how does the tax defer work here? Like, what's the timeline there?
it's there. It's like something like, as long as you're in the investment, it's deferred. And then if you stay in it in the opportunity zone investment for 7 years, then like 10% of the capital gains are waived. And then and then if you stay in it for 10 years, then it becomes like a bigger percentage, right? But it's all kind of deferred. And then it might be possible to 1031 exchange because now it's become real estate. So you may be able to defer it indefinitely. But it doesn't matter, because the key here is that you're saving money up front. Like if I have $200,000, I'm going to invest in real estate, right? Let's say. If the government takes 50% of that before I invest, I have 100,000 to invest in real estate.
playing with house money.
Exactly. Playing with house money. So
You're playing with double the money.
So yeah. So if you guys have any capital gains for the year, I think this is only until like April or something of next year, or if you you definitely want to look into doing some opportunity zone investment.
Trump is taking it out.
Trump is the one who put it in, I think.
So why is it only for
Expiring,
April?
maybe it was a short-term thing.
It was a short-term thing. It was like he was getting his people in there.
It's a short-term thing for short-term gains.
Yeah, he like pushed that one under the Democrats didn't even know what was going on. They're like, oh,
he likes
that
short
doesn't
things
look like a tax cut.
because he has short hands.
It's a tax cut for smart people.
I'm pretty sure that Trump's pushed a lot of stuff through because people just get unreasonable about other things, or they just yell loud about other things, even if it is reasonable. But yeah, and so this other stuff just kind of goes unnoticed. I think he could provide a lot more air cover for a lot more things to get pushed through too.
I would agree with that.
Anyway, I've got to jump off soon. I've got another call that I'm already late for, and I've already texted him and said I'm coming, but I'm going to be late.
Same. I
All right.
got to jump on the flight to the US in about 20 hours here. So see you guys there.
All right. So yeah. So thoughts. My thought mainly is, John brought up coaches, and just getting somebody to, kind of lead me around by the nose to where I need to be, even though it's not what I want to hear. And a lot of times those are the kinds of coaches you need anyway, are the ones that are just going to say, look, this is what I see and this is what you need. I've had some coaches that are really good at telling me what I want to hear, and then it doesn't help me out. So you need somebody who has expertise, sure. And I think that's what John was talking about with like his running coach. You know, they've coached so many people and run so many miles that they can tell him what he needs because they have more experience than he does. But the other thing is they have to be willing to tell him, look, you're doing this wrong, do it better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll kind of piggyback off of the coaching idea too. So I'm doing a little bit of consulting for a business, and they just came out of a really bad relationship where they'd hired this agency to run their marketing, and they realized partway through that they didn't understand the big picture of any of what they were doing. And that is a huge warning sign. Like if your coach or consultant can't explain to you like how all the pieces fit together, then you're probably just getting snowed.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what was happening here. And then like they've been talking to me and they're like, oh, I see how this is all going to fit together. And like, you know, if you're, because I think what the other group was doing was just trying to keep them dependent. Because if you don't ever see the big picture, then you need the other person spoon feeding you. So just something to keep an eye out for.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say something along the lines of, you know, don't take your fish out of the fish bowl and ask them to run a relay race. Like basically what I talked about before, but hire people for the job that they're good at and that skill specifically, right? That's the thing that you want to do, and not, you know, the general, you know, the more specific you can be, and the more, you know, the more specific thing that you're asking them to do, the better. You know, hiring a designer to do website work, not a good plan. did not work out well. But you know, for design, you're going to get something that's going to be good, because I think the piece of that also is just the idea that like you can misjudge or misevaluate someone if you're having them do the wrong kind of work, right? So you know, and to take responsibility for, you know, I guess I could kind of piggyback of what Josh said too, right? Like you take responsibility for, if you don't ask them the process they're going to do the work, how they're going to do it, you know, if you don't know all the details and you're just assuming that the expert's just going to do the thing, then you're probably going to open up your chance of getting snowed and of them saying they can do something that they can't really do. So you have to be very specific about what you want done, and you have to make sure that you've heard from them that they can do that job and how they're going to go about doing it. Otherwise, you can never just hand things off and just say, do this. So,
shit, man, I got nothing to say today. Yeah, I guess I would say that when there is something that is working, you got to double, triple down on it, because you don't know how long you have it for, or when someone else takes it away. When something is actually clicking, it's time to go hard on it rather than delay on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
Alrighty.
Later.
See you next week.
See ya.
If I'm alive.
Alrighty.
Yeah,
Bye.
that's the rock and roll marathon.